Hello, good evening, and thanks for another edition of Ideas Exchange. This is TV XYZ. Tonight, our conversation is going to be very exciting. It is about something that is dear to the heart of many Ghanaians, a subject that is threatening the livelihoods of individuals, threatening the economy of this country, and if we don't take time, it is even going to create chaos, because in other countries, it is the same subject that led to civil wars and other violent activities. Ghana is endowed with many natural resources, from gold to bauxite to diamond, and until the late 2007, after decades of search, we added crude oil. We have several other mineral resources that we are yet to mine in commercial quantities, and we know a lot of engagements are ongoing. But lately, there is a trend that appears as if one major resource, that is gold, is becoming an albatross, and it is becoming a threat to this nation. First of all, most of our water bodies are polluted. Again, we also know that our cocoa industry is becoming fast under threat because either cocoa farmers are deliberately giving up and selling out their lands to miners, whether they are doing proper mining or illegal mining, because that is quick money, or the cocoa beans are being polluted by mercury. And so we know that the European Union and some other countries have already threatened that they may ban the import of cocoa beans from Ghana. Don't forget that cocoa has been the backbone of our economy. As we speak, there has been some research, and it appears much of the gold that is mined in this country is sold out illegally. So the revenue that government is supposed to be generating from this major resource appears to be missing. And I'll share something with you. A research by a consortium including the Institute for Statistical, Social and Economic Research, ISE, has revealed that Ghana loses more than $2 billion in taxes alone due to the under-evaluation of gold exports. The study, spanning 3 political administrations, identified that Ghana's exports were undervalued by an estimated $8.3 billion between 2011 and 2017. The top 5 destination countries of these undervalued gold exports include major gold refining destinations such as India, South Africa, United Arab Emirates, or what people refer to largely as Dubai, Switzerland, and Portugal. That is how serious it is for the industry. Now, we also know that at least 5 major water bodies have been heavily polluted. These are River Pra, River Ankobra, the Birim River, River Tano, and the Black Volta. And many times when I travel to my hometown, that's if I cross the Sokagopo Bridge, and I look at River Volta, sometimes I cringe and wonder if those involved in these illegal activities will one day come to the Volta region and pollute the water there, that is the River Volta. But we know that government has made a lot of investment in this fight against mining irresponsibly. From investment into the provision of drones, to speedboats, to recruitment of soldiers under the guise of galamstop or whatever you call it, to resources that were spent to pay them, to seizures and all kinds of things. These run into billions of cedis over the period. But we are back again, and our water bodies are heavily polluted. And it's all because of irresponsible mining under the guise of community mining. I want to share one of the reports with you, because what is actually influencing our conversation tonight is because of a trend, and I'm choosing 2 videos. One is what happened recently, that's August 5th, thereabout, at Echumamponia, where the Ofin River was being heavily polluted by people brought in under the guise of community mining. And there's another one threatening a timber industry, Samatex. We'll show you that video too. But first, let's watch this citizen report about what you may have seen or you need to know about the activities in the Echumamponia district.
Over 2,000. What you are there? Aha, can you pay a Jumano? And yeah, I'm the Johanna, Mapaha. I would DC Waho, a Yachumamponia district. The dark war, the postal, a Bombay, a year, DC, a year. I say for Timafo, President Timosi and Yai is Yoshua Jumano. What did you go for Hanum? And then they get 3 of August 2022. If I come here revolving, I'm going to make you looking over her. I'm going to someone who said, a idea a beboa or minor, and answer a boa or minor. And to make you a year, I come up from one district. Because so a Bombay and then instruction on. And as a Kutumaku, if you may be awaiting you, and ensure what say is you go through one amount.
So people are making lots of money. They send all kinds of equipment to our rural areas, destroy our water bodies with pleasure. We are aware that government makes attempt to flush them out. But since 2017 till date, if government is committed to fighting this menace, government should by now have mapped out these areas, and because these assemblies are headed by DCs who are appointees of government and are supposed to be heads of the security councils within those jurisdictions, would have stationed people there to fight people or prevent them from coming. Tonight I'm doing this conversation with 4 individuals who have interest in the industry. The first is going to be Mark Ofori Asante. He's the General Secretary of the Timber and Woodworkers Union. He will join us shortly when we switch to the conversation about the devastation within the concession owned by Samatex Ghana Limited. Michael Kojo Pepra is the president of the National Concerned Small Scale Miners Association. He will join us. We'll be speaking to Ken Ashibi. Ken Ashibi, we know, is the CEO of the Ghana Telecommunications Chamber. But Ken Ashibi is speaking to us in this particular conversation as the convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining. And then in the studio with me is Timothy Atabwade Awonterim, is the former MP for Bilsa North. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you, my brother.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Yes, I remember some months ago we sat here under a different setting called Morning Update. Now, even before we go out there to hear the concerns of people on the field, how does this come to you? If you look at how much we are losing, yet there appears to be so much activity and we are just helpless.
Yes, let me take the opportunity to say good morning to you.
Good evening.
Good evening to your viewers out there, and good morning to yourself and to your production team. I think that the issue of galamsey and illegal money has become like an albatross on the neck of the government. And when I watch your intro properly, it's like an octopus, the problem. It permeates not just the cocoa industry, but even to crops and to the water sector, and almost permeating to every human endeavor and facet, thus touching our various lives and our health. So when a problem becomes an octopus, the solution of the problem must change from using of military tactics into a kind of a multifaceted solution to the problem. What do I say? That look, it is not just about buying the equipment and drones. It's about the sincerity, the honesty with which you do that fight. Because this fight out there is not just happening here. It has even extended, like you said. Countries out there want to ban our cocoa. And cocoa is an inexhaustible resource that can always be done. Can you imagine if our cocoa is banned out there? How much we are going to lose so much. So for me, it's the sincerity of government and the honesty with which such policies are pursued to the last degree of it. For instance, we know about how the program started from 2017, how the president's promised to fight the galamsey. If it would mean putting down his presidency, he would do it. And today, what are the results out there to show that they were sincere and honest in the fight against Galamsey, and for its resurgence again at this time, which is the most serious aspect, my brother, just a jiffy, that we are now talking about its resurgence. We should have been talking about the way we have moved up to now, and where we are finally nipping it in the bud, and we are moving forward, and would have trained these artisanal Galamsey operators, said that they would have been having work to do, not to return to such a disaster.
Timothy Tabuade Awontorem is a former MP for Bursa North. He will be with me in the studio, but we are going out there to speak to Mark Ofori Asante, the General Secretary of the Timber and Woodworkers Union. Mark, good evening and thanks for joining TVXYZ on Ideas Exchange.
Thank you, Eric, and your cherished listeners.
Yeah, happy to speak to you. I engaged a colleague who saw a flyer, Kwame Dumante, and I understand you are related to him. He says his best regards and is watching you live from Takrady.
Thank you very much.
Right. Mark, before I engage you, I just want you to spend just a few minutes and listen to this clip in which the forestry guards appear to be frustrated about activities within the concession of Samatex Ghana Limited. You know the story, but for the benefit of those who are going to follow this conversation, stay on the line and let's listen to them briefly, and then we continue our conversation with the concerns you have.
Tanonimre Forest Reserve, compartment 161. Samatex Timber and Plywood Company, one of our compartments, concession illegal operations be a cause Galamsey. Then the forestry task force led by a military team together with Samatex personnel, we happen to be at this place.
This is not the first time they've come. Omabaha once they move away and whatever we do to prevent them, we will be here. Day in, day out. We are always patrolling. So they should desist from that. They came here, we learned that they came in the night, Monday. So we came here on Tuesday, and then the following day, then the soldiers came and we drove them. So far, this is what they've done before. Okay, when we came here, we came and met the 6 cavities here, and then the container.
6 cavities?
Yes. So they all left. They drove them all away. So we left with these things. You can see the container, and then they were building this thing. When the soldiers came, we bent everything on them, as you can see. Whenever you come, they run. They run.
You will not be able to even grab a person to even investigate.
No. You see, we normally,
these activities going on within the company is actually Samatex. Help me with the correct name of this company. Is Samatex Timber and Plywood Company, is that correct?
Yes, please.
Now, how serious is the concern about these illegal activities threatening timber companies and forest reserves, for example?
Thank you very much. It's a very serious situation at hand now that we want all well-meaning Ghanaians to be on deck so that we fight this menace. We all know that timber companies only work with raw material, that is the timber. Before 2000, we're having a close to 200 timber companies in this country. And even the list of them employed more than 100 people.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we can count about 10, all because of the activities that did not help sustain the forest. So some of us were happy when the government said they want us to bring the country so that we replant the forest so that we can have a sustainable forest.
So it means that apart from our cocoa, apart from our industries virtually crumbling under the activities of illegal miners, I'll be sharing some pictures we have put together about how serious these are affecting this company and for which reason we have brought you on board. Samatex Timber and Plywood, I think, Company Limited. Now, how did these people manage to get into the reserve with the excavators and so on? Because we understand that is supposed to be a no-go area?
Thank you very much. We need to state it as it is so that we can get a remedy to that effect. If we pretend and we tickle ourselves and laugh, we will be smiling at the wrong side of our cheek. This country is sitting on a time bomb because we are depleting the forest. We need to come together as people with good intentions, so that we can do away with selfish and personal interest people who wants to take away the livelihood of many Ghanaians. It will interest you to know that these activities that is going on, they are not giving the workers a decent work. They are not giving them job security. And even the employment that they are giving them is not sustainable. And I must say on record, now Samate's company employs over 2,500 unionized workers. So if we allow these nation workers to continue to deplete the forest with the pretense that they have some backing, with the pretense that they have some connections, my brother, it's not inure to the benefit of any of us.
So who
are so seriously concerned about the issue at stake, and we don't want it to take any political twist.
Right.
We want to hammer on the nail.
Okay, so Mark,
so
briefly,
our livelihoods will be maintained.
Of course, that's a serious concern, and for which reason we are having this conversation. Do we know who is behind? Because we saw vehicles at the location. Is it Asoba or Asunaba? One of the vehicles which was branded. And these excavators, obviously, if they are doing responsible mining, even within the concession, we got the impression that these excavators were going to be attached with electronic devices for government to be able to track their movement. And so we find them there. Have you gone a step further as a union to find out who is behind this threat to your industry?
Those behind, we don't know them in person, but we know the company. One company that I can mention on authority now is Akwanta Mining. Okay. Now, they have entered in the forest to deplete the forest. It will interest you to know that even the trees that we planted under Green Ghana last year, they are destroying it.
Okay.
So what was the essence in greening the Ghana? Of course.
All right, Makasante, I think we have other people who are also going to join us on this program. So we are so grateful for the concerns you have shared. Obviously, we believe that we'll take it a bit forward.
Let me end by saying gold is a luxury. 3, we can survive without gold, but we can never ever strive and live without trees. So let us maintain what we have. And one other thing that I also want to add is Samate's company is a certified company by Forest Stewardship Council for them to sell their products into European countries. If such activity is not halted, they can't continue.
Okay. So, Mark, we are so grateful for the time tonight, and I believe that subsequently we'll follow up for more conversation on this.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you. So,
thank
Timothy,
you very much.
He has raised a number of issues. We have the Forestry Commission, we have the Water Resources Commission, we have the Minerals Commission. So, there are state agencies beyond the government as an institution which are supposed to enforce all the things we spoke about between 2017 and 2018, and that's where we are.
Yeah, if you listen to him clearly, he talked about that. If we allow, he was meaning government, if government allows people with some backing and connection. So he's literally putting the nail on the front door of the government. So government should be held responsible for what is going on. Like you rightly put it, how can such heavy equipment be driven into the forest area? And this forest area is being manned by it's within a district or so that the DISEC and the DCs are aware. In fact, you cannot drive such heavy equipment into a district, go into a forest, because the forest area is marked and it should be a no-go area. And you rightly put it that there are trackers on these machines. How come
there are supposed to be trackers?
There are supposed
in fact,
to be
what
trackers.
happened within the period was
Yes.
the government said all mining activities involving Ghanaians,
yes,
under the umbrella, small-scale mining, illegal mining, banned. 2 years they were home doing
yes.
nothing.
Yes.
Government said within that period they were going to re-register them.
Yes.
They were going to give them concessions again.
Yeah.
They were going to put trackers on these excavators.
Exactly.
They had drones which were going to monitor activities.
Yes.
And they recruited people who were going to be the foot soldiers on the ground,
yes,
who were going to monitor activities.
Police them.
Everything zero.
So how the question is, how come the guy categorically mentioned an Akunta mining company that they can categorically say they were the people behind this and brought the machinery there? And if Akunta mining company is not having a backing or connection with government agencies, with all these agencies that you have enumerated, how can they boldly drive such heavy machinery into the forest area? And remember, this is a registered company. And the registered company, like the young man, the one who spoke to you, said that even before this time, we have over 200 timber companies in Ghana. Now you cannot count less than 10. Because all of them have fizzled out as a result of the activities of these illegal miners and so on. And what is left is Samatex. Samatex, Woodworks and Plywood or so are the registered ones there. And they employ a lot of people. He compared that, look, all these 200 companies, each of them were employing not less than 100 people. Now, the multiplier effect of that can go into thousands and thousands and so on. So I put the blame on the doorstep of the government, like I told you. They should be able to monitor. They told us that they were going to put measures in place to ensure, like you rightly put it, all the illegal miners and even licensed miners were staying at home. They were to ensure that these machines were put, trackers were put on them to ensure that you do not sneak under the cover of darkness to go and do illegal mining, to either to destroy the forest, destroy water bodies, and destroy businesses.
Just recently, and we are told we have Mr. Ken Ashibi on the line. He is speaking to us in the capacity as the convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining. Ken, good evening and grateful for the opportunity tonight.
Thank you very much. And, well, I'm not too sure it is the evening is good based on all that we are seeing and how far we are supposed to come and how far back, we seem to be going.
Good. Mr. Ashibi, government had the best of goodwills as far as the fight against illegal mining is concerned. It was a deliberate policy to invest heavily through allocation of funds to do all the things that we saw happening between 2017 until when it appears today as we speak that the coalition that you lead seem to have virtually given up because they are disappointed. You recently put together some recommendations when you did your own assessment. Tell us where we are and what you know.
Well, interestingly, I have been looking at what has been going on, and people still reach out to you and tell you this is happening, that is happening, and then we also be following what the government says they're doing. The last one, that engagement that was done, the recommendations that have come out of it. The challenge in all our situations has just been implementation. So it is not as if we don't know what the problems are. It is not as if we don't know what the solutions are. The problem have just been leadership, especially leadership at the local level, failure to be able to act, and then our inability to implement the things that we say, we need to do. Go back to even the roadmap that government brought to start, small-scale mining again. All the things that government had said that they were going to do. You ask yourself, what percentages of those have been implemented? the chamfans were supposed to be banned. And these chamfans are not small equipment. So the question and then we also were going to get the local authorities to be acting. So these are not small equipment. How people are able to assemble these things that currently have been declared illegal and still are able to put on these water bodies and are working, and there are DCs in these places. There are MCs, there are district police commanders, there are
traditional authorities.
Traditional authorities in these areas, and this is happening. It's completely mind-boggling. Completely mind-boggling. And we were supposed to have bought drones that are supposed to be